Okay, so this is part 2 of the work problems. We've got, I think, 2 more examples. Yep, 2 more examples left. We're going to do one more where the two people don't work together the entire job, and then we're going to do one that is different than all the rest. So this 5th one says, David usually takes 40 minutes. We did do this one in class. To do a job. After working for 5 minutes, he was joined by Frank, and they finished the job in 15 minutes. How long would it have taken Frank working alone? Okay. So 40 minutes represents David alone. That's if he did the job all by himself, he would do it in 40 minutes. And then what's interesting is that together, they don't work the whole job. David works for 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes, he was joined by Frank. And they worked on the job in 15 minutes. So that means Frank was on the job for 15 minutes. So we'll call that Frank's actual. Now David worked 5 minutes, and then he worked the same 15 minutes that Frank had. So that would be David's actual. So what we don't know in this problem is Frank alone. So we've got actual over alone, so there's David's fraction, plus actual over alone, there's Frank's fraction of work. Frank, not fraction. That's an interesting name. Hey, fraction, how you doing? Kind of filling in parts these days. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Equals 1. So now we need to figure out LCD. Pretty darn simple. It's going to be a product, 40x. So we're going to multiply everything by 40x. So 40 cancels with 40, x cancels with x. What we're left with, 5 times 15 is 20, and an x, plus 15 times 40. Well, 15 times 4 is 60, and there's an extra 0, equals 40x. Subtract 20x from both sides. Use the symmetric property. The result is 20x equals 600. Divide by 20. Zeros cancel out, and we get x equals 30. So it would have taken, if Frank did the job start to finish by himself, 30 minutes. Okay? All right, last one. This is an interesting question, so it's really important you understand this, and we'll talk about this one for a little bit. So one pipe can fill a tank in 2 hours. Another pipe can empty the tank in 6 hours. how long will it take to fill the empty tank with both pipes operating? All right, so let's talk about how realistic this problem is. Why would somebody fill a tank and not put in the drain? Well, it's called human error. Nobody wants to do that, okay? You know, it's like you want to fill up the tub, but you get distracted and you forget to put the stopper down. You come back, and the tub's not full all the way, and you're like, oh my gosh, and you're like, I've just wasted all this water. So this is a situation not that somebody plans it, but that somebody forgot to do what they were supposed to do. But where I want to bring your attention to is this keyword, empty. And anytime you hear words like empty, drain, or evaporate, we are no longer talking about a problem where we're adding two fractions together to complete a job. In fact, what's happening is that the filling is being delayed by the constant draining or the constant evaporating or the constant emptying. So instead of adding the two equations, you are going to subtract the two equations. Now, the way that we write this out is that we have the fill fraction, take away the empty, drain, evaporate fraction in order to get one job. So it's going to take longer than the normal filled time because you are constantly taking water away, okay? So back to our issue here. 2 hours is fill time. So that's fill alone, basically. And then we have 6 hours is empty alone, meaning if the empty guy was working all by himself, it would take 6 hours to get the job done. So the question is, what's the time together? So if they're operating at the same time, where one thing is filling and the other thing is emptying, how long is that going to take? So what we have is I did it again. You guys, I wish you were here. You'd be yelling at me right now. Get it right, Rosner. Time together. I need you guys here. That's what I'm saying. So what we have is together over alone. Fill must come in front. And then the big difference minus together over alone. That's the empty guy, the evaporate guy, the drain guy. Together, that's one complete job. LCD of 2 and 6 is 6, so we're going to multiply everything by 6. 2 goes into itself evenly and into 6 3 times, and the 6's cancel out, and here's what you're left with. 3 times x minus x equals 6. 2x equals 6. Divide by 2. X equals 3. So as you're filling and the constant emptying, if you notice, the fill time alone is normally 2 hours, but it's increased to 3 hours because of that constant draining. Okay? Alrighty, good luck with these.